What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of FightfulWrestling.com. Go over there, get all of your wrestling news. We've got podcasts, we've got interviews, we've got backstage news, we've got resources like ratings, injury lists, contract updates, all kinds of wonderful stuff over at FightfulWrestling.com, one of the fastest growing independent wrestling websites in the world. Part of that growth is Mr. Warren Hayes. You can catch him every Wednesday night here on the Wednesday Night War Show, and now every Friday night reviewing SmackDown with me. Not SmackDown Live anymore, even though it is a live show, and Warren is alive.
Yes. This is the meme that just won't die, but yes, I am alive. I'm here. Friday Night SmackDown, and I'm thrilled to be able to give Alex some reprieve as far as main roster WWE programming goes. And I just, Sean, between you and I just tweeted out to Alex that I was going to try and make him proud tonight because, oh boy.
I got some stuff to talk about, but I've got stuff to talk about with you guys as well. If you all want your questions read on the air or your statement read and you're watching live on YouTube at youtube.com/Fightful, well, first off, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, but donate a super chat of any amount and your question or statement will get read on the air. But maybe you think, oh, gee, that's a ripoff. I want more than one question read. Well, fortunately, we have FightfulSelect.com. It is our premium service that helps supplement the guys like Warren, helps supplement our writers, our podcasters. Go over there. Subscribe. You can ask as many questions as you want. We do Q&A shows every other week, but how about this? How about 4 or 5 of them over the course of 2 or 3 weeks? Because that's what we've had lately. We've got 3 Q&A shows this week, a retro review, a mock draft show, the Weekender podcast, a backstage report. There's something you'll like over there. Check it out. Let's go ahead and check out these super chats. AJ says, first time super chat from the UK. Ending of SmackDown was different, but also a massive shame too. I am in agreement with that. We are going to get into that at length, AJ. But I'll say this. I've got things to say about that. Young Bibby says, Brian needs to stay heel. Warren, I don't know if Brian needs to stay heel yet because I don't know where the chips are going to fall in this draft.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. That's pretty much what I'm thinking as well. For the time being, if anything, the heel experiment with Daniel Bryan proved to be successful because I think ultimately, deep down inside of all of us, we do want a babyface Daniel Bryan. I think we do. And they bungled his return after coming back from retirement with the whole Miz thing and the wives involved. And it was just a mess. The heel turn was very strategic. And I think it's just made us want to chant yes even more. I'm digging where they're going with this. But like you said, let's see where this. First of all, let's see what happens at Hell in a Cell this week, and then see how things end up with the draft. Because wherever he ends up, he could do both and fall into a category where he's really needed.
Matt Thomas sends a super chat and says, "Do you think it would have made more sense for CAIN to have cost Brock the match?" I do, and we are going to expand on that greatly. We are going to talk about that segment a lot longer than the actual segment was. Aaron J's fan says, Sean, you had the better draft. Over on Fightful Select right now, we have the Fightful Fantasy Draft for the Raw and SmackDown rosters. That is up on Fightful Select now. Next week, Jeremy and I will reveal our cards, and we're going to let you guys decide who put together the better roster and the better cards. It's something we've done in the past with Rob McCarron, with Vince Russo, and I won them all. I have won them all. Do I have your attention now? Says, I guess Stone Cold will be on the after show. That's something I wanted to ask you about, Warren. A lot of names that were advertised and thrown around and tossed about that just weren't on the show or were on the show, like Hulk Hogan trotting out and sitting at ringside. Like that was kind of cheap, I thought.
Was that Hulk Hogan? Because it seems to me we only saw his back. Like it could have been an impersonator, and we'll just never know. And we saw Goldberg hanging out in the audience at the end. Mark Henry. Yeah, I mean, but then again, this whole evening felt like a gigantic bait and switch. So why not? Why not just promise us people that just didn't show up? And weren't they advertising that they'd have stars? They were talking about Zac Efron that was supposed to be there as well. I saw a whole bunch of Hollywood names.
And then we didn't see any of them.
Nothing. It was really strange.
It was timed pretty poorly, it looked like, but I don't have that confirmed or anything like that. Andrew Thomason says, I relinquish my super chat question or statement to Jesse the Buckeye. Well, we'll see what Jesse throws out there. She's one of our great mods. She said she relinquishes her question to Warren and SRS. Dealer's choice. Well, I'm going to save that then. Rex Joseph Calmerin said, I loved Corbin's performance tonight. We're about to talk about that. First thing we see, Stephanie, Vince McMahon coming out, welcoming us to this era, going into the intro. I thought that was appropriate. Get them on screen, get them the hell off screen.
I mean, if you were to ask me, let's just not do it. But if you're going to do it, that's the best way. Instead of starting off with a 5-minute back padding session, sure, absolutely.
But did it last that long? It didn't seem like it lasted that long.
No. I mean, if it's better the way they did it tonight, rather than having them talk for 5 minutes and go, we started this 20 years ago, blah blah. It's like, if you're going to insist on having the McMahons come out for a rah-rah, look at us session, just keep it as short as that. That was fine.
What did you think of the new set? I love it. I think it looks amazing.
It's fantastic. I like it oodles more than the Raw set. Yeah. The ramp, the hexagon with the perspective plate, it's outstanding. And I love how they were able to work like either names or logos right between those hexagons, the ramp thing. It looked good. Bronze logo there, the man, Becky Lynch, and everything that they did there looked fantastic. And to me, it looks like they put a little more thought into the set than on the Raw side, because as much as the Raw screen is amazing as it's coming down and it's huge and the curve in it, it really feels like two screens. It doesn't flow naturally into the bottom. And I hope that's something that they do fix, because they could have amazing visuals here. Here, just thanks to the tunnel, let's call it that. Just thanks to the tunnel, everything feels meshed together. Despite the fact that it's two screens, it looks great. And those columns, man, I mean, it just looks outstanding.
Joseph Farley says, fun way to spend a Friday night, also filling up the curse jar. We appreciate that. Those of you that are sending super chats about the main event, I do see them, and I will get to them during the main event, because I don't want to get too out of sequence. I kind of want to build to that. I think the lasers went a long way, too.
Absolutely.
I thought that was nice. And while I'm not a big pyro guy, I don't care. Use selectively, I think it does help here and there. Well, The Rock has been used selectively, probably not on WWE's behalf. They'd use him every damn week if they could. But Becky Lynch comes out, thanks the Staples Center, and says she's going to thank them by kicking somebody's ass. King Corbin comes out, and I was like, I had some mixed feelings. I was like, is she just going to straight up put him in a disarmor? Like, what's going to happen here? Well, he comes out and trashes Becky. She fires back at him, and The Rock appears to a deafening ovation. That guy he's not just the biggest star in wrestling. He's just the biggest star, Warren. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere.
Absolutely.
The guy that was doing a shoulder breaker 22 years ago.
That's
amazing. I love it.
I love it too. And I think that you can only compare the ovation that he got to Stone Cold's at MSG a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's pretty much on the same level. It's fantastic. I mean, I thought it was a great reaction that he got, and brilliant to bring him out from the get-go. You get the crowd excited. You keep the people who are just flipping channels like, oh, let's see what happens here. You grab them in because everybody knows who that guy is. But we do have to underscore how big a deal it is that the first person that you saw on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox was Becky Lynch. The face, if you're wondering who the face of the company is right now in WWE, folks, if you had any doubt up until this point, hopefully this shifted it aside. Having Becky Lynch come out as the first person you see on the show is an enormous, enormous deal. She has to be happy about that. She has to be proud of it. I was thrilled, and I thought it was a bold move as well.
Over the last 9 or 10 months, Becky has had programs with John Cena, The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, including Steve Austin on his own show, taking a stunner from her. Mm-hmm. That is, if those aren't ringing endorsements, I don't know what is. I want to send a ringing endorsement to Hannah Moore, who was at the show, had the worst luck. Southwest lost her bags. Then her Uber driver dropped her off 7 blocks away from Staples Center. Then she got stuck on an elevator. We're thinking of you, Hannah. You're hopefully you still have a good time. Thank you for the super chat. Andrew Thomason said Stone Cold did a beer bash promo 3 minutes before SmackDown. Well, hopefully it surfaces and ends up on the show. But The Rock comes out and cuts a promo about how the term SmackDown changed WWE. He said that Baron Corbin looks like a Burger King employee on crack. And I thought that was going to stick. I thought that was going to be the thing that sticks, but it isn't. And I got to say, man, Becky Lynch, this is what gets Becky Lynch over. When she's able to just kind of be herself. This is the best we've seen out of Becky Lynch on the mic in a while. It's some of the best we've seen out of Baron Corbin on the mic in a long time. The Rock says winning King of the Ring doesn't make you a king. Like Becky Lynch being the man doesn't mean she carries around a pair of testicles. To which she immediately says, well, if I did, they'd be a lot bigger than Baron's.
And what does Baron respond?
He says they're perfectly adequate, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Becky hits Baron with the "it doesn't matter what you think." And then they call Baron a super tough dude, which gets the crowd to chant STD. Fun fact, I once wrestled against a guy whose honest-to-God initials were STD. Sebastian Tyler Dalton. He's on my fight team. So this brought back fond memories because we would call him the infection of our fight team. So this was, I really enjoyed this. They beat up Corbin, people's elbow, rock bottom. What'd you think?
This was the best way to open up the show. Like I said, you have The Rock come out from the get-go, get the crowd excited, keep the casuals around because everyone knows and loves The Rock. It's not just knowing him. We all love him. Baron Corbin was the perfect guy in this to be put in this position. Absolutely the perfect guy. Especially when you have Becky Lynch, who looks the part, is legit. You have The Rock comes out, who looks the part, is legit. You have Corbin there in his geek gear. Look, with his phony baloney crown and his Game of Thrones getup, his discount Game of Thrones getup. Of course, The Rock is going to rag on him with that, and taking the beating between them both. Sure, everybody hates Baron Corbin. That's what he was for. And if you didn't know about Baron Corbin tuning in tonight on Friday night SmackDown, the minute you saw him, you were like, "Who is this guy? I hate him." The minute you saw him, it was the perfect guy to do this. I loved it. Thought it was a great way to start the show.
One of our super chats says, was it a mistake to start the show with a promo, not a match? I don't think so at all. I thought this was great. This was past meets present. The biggest star of the past meeting the biggest star of the present, and you got somebody in there. Let's be honest. It doesn't hurt Baron Corbin a bit. He's not King of the Ring anymore. We saw him go through that tournament. It was a great tournament. It was a great performance. That's his role. I don't think he's ever going to be the tip top guy, and this isn't going to prevent him from being the tip top guy. I loved starting this off with a promo.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of starting the shows with promos. But that's just me. So when it started with a promo, I'm like, okay, yeah. Same old. However, it picked up. And it was carried by a fired up Rock. Rock felt like he wanted to be there. You know, finally The Rock has come home. You could almost, I was like, is he tearing up? Is he like, or is he really just a damn good actor? Yeah. Either or. Both. I bought into it. I bought into it. The segment worked. Fantastic. It lasted like 20 minutes, Sean. But it worked. It didn't feel like a 20-minute segment. I thought it was great.
Thank you to Anakin JMT for sending that super chat. I appreciate it. Jack Dewberry says, STD chant and Comic-Con virgins doesn't work in 2019. Oh, but it did. It did. And if there's any doubt, go check out the tweet that I put out a few months ago when MJF called the whole crowd virgins, and they cut to one. I don't know how I'd refer to him. I don't want to call him a perhaps virgin-y looking fellow. But the thing did bonkers numbers. I don't want to stereotype the guy. I mean, I don't know who's screwing. Here's the thing. I don't know. But
look, I think I know what super chat guy means is
yes.
that a lot of fans, a lot of wrestling fans, modern day fans do partake into the more geeky things as opposed to maybe in 1999 where it was still tough guy.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know one thing. People who complained about Kofi Kingston winning the WWE title in his reign, they ain't fucking. That's for sure. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch defeated the Boston Hug Connection. These entrances looked so much better with the updates. Great action early on. Charlotte got worked over. Becky Lynch is in the ring after the break, and the crowd is hot. I thought this was a great idea for an opening match on SmackDown. The first half hour. This is what I even mentioned on several shows. You immediately show people that maybe haven't watched in a while. Things are a little bit different now. The women are important. They always probably should have been. They always should have been. They should have done a better job recruiting. They should have done a better job booking. A lot of that stuff. But here they are now. These are the 4 best we got. These are the 4 we put the most stock into. Here they are. You know one of their dads at the very least if you've never watched wrestling before. And here Becky Lynch, our main eventer. And here are the 2 women that they are at odds with. Charlotte hits her moonsault. She taps out Bayley. Crowd was hot for this. And the women all looked like stars, Warren.
Yep, absolutely. You have been saying this over the past couple of shows, and if anything, maybe we'll get into this a little later on as we're breaking down the final aspects of the show. But there's a lot of stuff that happened here tonight that was geared towards new viewers, towards casuals. So if you are someone who hasn't watched wrestling within the past, even 5 to 6 years, you don't know how much women's wrestling has changed and has evolved. The last time you've watched it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. You have an impression of what women are supposed to do in wrestling. This was broken tonight because you have your top 4 women in the match. You have to give props once again to Bayley, who was the MVP of this match. The tag team matches that she's been having with Sasha over the past couple of weeks, leading into Hell in a Cell and tonight, she's been taking the beatings. She's been she's been in trouble. She's been taking the beatings, eating the offense, letting Sasha get some licks in, but it's all been her. She looked fantastic again for her teammate Charlotte, and Becky look as dominant as they're supposed to be. Honestly, this was match of the night right here. It was straight out of the gate. It was fantastic.
I really, really enjoyed this. Good stuff. By the way, Edge said, "No, I'm not," and "No, I'm not," about rumors that he was cleared and that he was wrestling. So, FYI, there you go. That's why we don't report shit like that. Aaron Andrews interviewing New Day backstage. I dug this. She felt natural. She was quick, asking follow-up questions. Stop scripting your interviewers so bad because this was so good. She wasn't a glorified mic stand.
Yes. She actually interacted, and it's like when the New Day did their chant together. Kofi was here, and you had Xavier and Big E were over here, and they all started chanting, and she sort of tilted the microphone over towards Kofi. I was like, okay, all right. She's feeling, she's in the moment. She's feeling it. She's reacting. She's reacting to what these guys are doing around her. I liked it. I thought, I agree. It was just a nice little touch.
Reminder, guys, if you want your questions or statement read on the air, donate a super chat. But hey, leave us a thumbs up and subscribe. And make sure you check out FightfulSelect.com. Even right now, while you're listening to this show, just type that into your bar. There might be something over there that you like, and it is the most direct way to support us. Trish Stratus, Lita, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, Goldberg, Hulk Hogan, Tyson Fury are all there. We'll talk a little bit more about Tyson Fury in a bit. Not a lot to really note there, but I don't know if you got this, but there was a few action figure commercials during SmackDown tonight. Did you get those up in Canada?
We did not. Instead we got commercials for the draft, I think.
We did, and that's very rare here. I don't see that a lot. But hey, if you're into action figures, one of the features on Fightful Select right now, Jimmy Van, the founder of Fightful, has, he says the most expansive LJN WWF figure collection ever. He and I walked through it for about 20 minutes. There's a little appearance by Zack Ryder, so to speak, in that one you all will enjoy. Make sure you guys check that out on Fightful Select. Also here, market-specific ads for Ring of Honor. That's good.
I saw that on Twitter. On a couple of Sinclair-owned stations, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So that's really good because, quite honestly, when I watch Ring of Honor TV, I wait till it's uploaded to their website and I just watch it. That's the way it is. I don't watch it locally. Anakin says, is Erin Andrews a known WWE fan? It seemed like it. Not that I know of. She's just a very good interviewer, from what I understand. Anything to add? Are you familiar with Erin Andrews?
I'm not familiar with her at all. I honestly, she just broke out from the usual crop of interviewers that they have. Not to take anything away from the likes of Kyla Braxton, who I think is extremely charming and is very good at what she does. Like you said, they're just overly scripted, and it almost, the way they react and act, it's almost as if Big Brother is watching them, and they want to make sure that they don't step out of line. She was very, very natural, very smooth. I dug it. She just stood out. It was fantastic.
I thought so as well. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I didn't know what to think when this was first booked. I was like, oh man, they're going to beat Nakamura, and that's okay. But I loved how this played out. Firefly Funhouse happens in the ring while Seth is in the ring. The Rabbit warns Seth not to face the Fiend, and I love this because the Rabbit is dressed up like Seth. And then Mercy the Buzzard kills him. Mm-hmm. This parallels how this closed, and I'll go ahead and run the match. Nakamura grabs a flying armbar immediately. Michael Cole sold it like $1 million. That man seemed motivated tonight. Mm-hmm. Seth Rollins hits a, quote, patented suicide dive.
Well,
that's the least enforced patent I have ever seen in my life, Warren.
Well, maybe he just applied for it.
It's not patented then.
These things take time. The patent office is understaffed. They get these troll patent requests constantly. Maybe Seth put this in 2004 and he's still waiting for his response.
Rollins missed a kick by a mile, but the Fiend is here. And here's the way that I think, Warren. You had to get the Fiend here. You had to get Firefly Funhouse on here. They did both. So what they did is they got Firefly Funhouse here. They got the Fiend here. They got Seth Rollins on the show. They got Nakamura on the show. They didn't beat either one of them. They built to a Hell in a Cell match. This is serving every master you possibly could in that situation. You help WWE. You help the pay-per-view. Nakamura isn't hurt. In fact, he looks good grabbing that armbar. Bray Wyatt gets over. Seth Rollins doesn't get over, but he's building towards a match. This was some good, quick pro wrestling that built this stuff. I dug it. What did you think?
I like the segment of the Firefly Funhouse, where they introduced all the puppets just to make sure that everyone knew what was going on. At some point, I wondered, if you are watching for the first time tonight, and was the segment with just the Firefly segment, the Firefly Funhouse segment, was it a little too weird, just a little too out there? You're watching a wrestling show, and suddenly there's a dude with puppets, and the puppets are fighting. We've been watching it. We understand. We've seen the progression, but it was what it was. I liked it. I thought it was great. It even calls back to the fact months ago when they were running the Firefly Funhouse before the Fiend ever had an appearance. I remember Rambling Rabbit stooling on Mercy, saying, "Hey, Mercy tried to eat me." Well, Mercy ate him tonight. So there was continuity in the Funhouse, and continuity in wrestling is king. And as far as the rest of the segment went, yes, you had to bring out the Fiend. they were flashing his face during the football games or this weekend.
Buzz.
They had to bring him out. They had to put him there to connect the dots. So it was fantastic. But Sean, I don't understand. The Fiend threw Seth Rollins off the stage, but there was no camera to catch it. We just saw Seth go out of frame, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this seems to me this was your big Hell in a Cell visual. This was the moment where it's like, okay, this is going to get down and dirty and violent.
Is this
They're
match
throwing each other off the stages?
Is this match going to happen? Do we just have 2 now?
Yeah, exactly.
That was a super chat. Somebody asked, are there really just 3 Hell in a Cell matches right now?
Yep.
Right now, yeah. MJKI says Brock Lesnar won the Universal and WWE title in the same year. Is that a first? I believe it is. I'm thinking so, because Reigns didn't win the WWE title last year. Rollins hasn't won it. Brock's the only other person to hold that title lately. Goldberg never won it again. Balor never won it.
And neither did Kevin Owens.
He's the only person.
Yeah.
So that's quite the impressive feat there.
Mm-hmm.
Really dig that as well. I mean, the accomplishment I dig, not how it happened. Marshmello defeated Carmella to become WWE 24/7 champion. Then she won it back. These are some of the worst 24/7 segments I've seen. This afternoon, I got a message from somebody that says Marshmello's backstage. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? I did not know. My wife knew. I did not know. I'm like, oh, cool, Ghostbusters. Sweet.
Obviously, yeah, that's it. I have a YouTuber friendly child here in my home, so I knew who Marshmello was when he popped on, and I even turned to her and said, "Hey, that's Marshmello, right?" And he said, "Yeah."
Yeah, that was a new one for me, and can't pretend that I knew who that was, but hey, I do now, and maybe that's the point for him, is that people like me now know who he is. She won the title back. But
let me just throw this out there. Do you know what he does?
I don't have he wins the 24/7 title. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's a musician.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, well, okay. Why'd you say you didn't know?
No, I mean, I found that out later. I didn't know what he did before. Now I know what he does.
I feel like I feel like you're playing with me, Sean.
No, when somebody said Marshmello's backstage, I had no idea who he was or what he did. Through the course of the night, I figured out that he was a musician because I did my homework.
That's right. You're a journalist. Good job. I should be applauding you then.
So, hey, good for him. I mean, that's what you do. You
Sure.
want people to figure out who the hell you are. So good for Marshmello. And he got a title reign out of it. You got to maximize those minutes, Warren.
No, but I'm just the words that came out of your mouth.
And if you do want to maximize your minutes...
Oh, sorry.
I can tell you about a secret weapon that I use for learning new things and getting ahead. Doing that homework, doing that extra work, Warren. Sometimes it's hard for me to find time to sit down and read and learn more. I'm doing a lot of work here with Fightful. When you don't have the free time, you can't read or work on personal development the way you'd like to, but Blinkist helps you do that. That's Blinkist. It's a really unique app. It works on your phone, tablet, or your web browser. It is an incredible app, one of my favorites. Blinkist takes the best key takeaways, the need-to-know info from thousands of nonfiction books, and condenses them down into just 15 minutes. Not quite a Brock Lesnar match, but 15 minutes that you can read or listen to. Successful people like business leaders are well known for reading lots of books, and Blinkist is made for busy people like all of you. There's a lot of wrestling content right now, and maybe you still want to get your learn on. Blinkist helps you do that, and with the audio feature, it makes it even easier to finish a book during your commute, your lunch break, while you exercise. Personally, I've mentioned I've done it while I'm driving to the gym. I'm able to get in the notes on a full book in that amount of time. And over 8 million people are using Blinkist right now. It has a huge library, self-help, health, history, business, a lot of great titles from bestsellers, as well as other classic nonfiction titles that you've wanted to read, but maybe haven't had the time to. Becoming by Michelle Obama is a really great one. Start With Why by Simon Sinek is a great one. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, fantastic. With Blinkist, you get unlimited access to read or listen to a massive library of condensed nonfiction books All of them that you want for one low price. And how about this? Right now, you get it for free for 7 days. Go to Blinkist.com/Fightful. Start that 7-day trial. And if you like it, you save 25% off your new subscription. I love Blinkist. Check it out. They are supporting our show. They're helping us bring this to you for free. Blinkist.com/Fightful. BLINKIST.com/Fightful. Maximize those minutes, my friends. Well, Shane McMahon's going to have plenty of time on his hands. He's going to be able to burn through like 4 or 5 Blinkist titles per hour. He's lost a ladder match. He is now, quote-unquote, fired from WWE, Warren. You buying it?
I sure hope so. I'm okay with a long extended break of Shane McMahon, to be perfectly transparent with you. There's this part of me that always has this moment of doubt where you're like, there's no such thing as a real retirement in wrestling. We know this. There's always a reason to come back. But in this case, in this storyline, we really do need a break from Shane. We honestly do. We need a new form of authority figure. We need KO to be able to move on to something else. And honestly, if WWE is in any mood right now and seeing what's happening elsewhere in the wrestling world right now, if they want to sort of rebuild some confidence in their product, and one part of it could be just like following through on a stipulation and not giving us a good old-fashioned swerve where we're like, well, what's the use? I think there's an argument to be made for that, and I'm crossing my fingers that that's what it is, because I think we're okay without Shane for a while.
Anakin says, can Sean and Conrad Thompson do a Blue Chew ad read-off? It's possible. I like Conrad a lot. Don't forget, guys, I am going to read the super chats related to Kofi Brock towards the end of the show. I have them saved. Somebody says, is BYPBBJB still a sponsor? That's well, we're not going to say them because they're not, but no, they're not right now. That was a short-term read. But, we'll put them over when they're back. But I do like their service. It is good. I've got a couple friends who have used that. So Kevin Owens attacks Shane up the ramp. Shane does his elbow drop through the announce table. This was a spot fest, and it's okay because this show needed a spot fest, I think. McMahon cracks Owens in the ankle with a chair. Owens frog splashes Shane through like a ladder that was bridged coast to coast from Shane, but then Owens wins after he powerbombs Shane on the ladder. The only complaint I had was there were some crowd miking issues, like they would be completely muted at times while you would hear Corey Graves talking over top of them. That was odd. But Kevin Owens wins, and I love that he hit Shane with the "you're fired" and hit him with the stunner. That was good stuff, Warren.
I like the ending. I like the frog splash through the bridged ladder. I mean, for all the crap that we give Shane McMahon, he doesn't have to be taking those kinds of bumps. He doesn't.
Didn't have to be 20 years ago.
I mean, but if I didn't like the match, I thought, no, I didn't care for it, because everything that happened in this match we have seen from both Kevin, from Shane. We've seen the elbow off the turnbuckle through the commentary table. We've seen the coast to coast. Now, it was with a ladder. He should have
hooked a battery up to Shane's balls. Well, no, we saw that too. Never mind. I'm trying to work through to this in my final analysis. Like I actually have an outline set up, Sean, for my review. I don't know if Alex Pulowski ever did that, but I have an outline. But it seems to me that if you have watched WWE over the past year, this is something that you've seen over and over again. You've seen it twice, at least within the last 18 months. You've seen this match twice and in the same type of format. And it was supposed to. Sorry to cut you off. Not just the match, and very sorry to interrupt you. Kevin Owens is perpetually fighting for his career.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
That's the only story.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was nothing here that was really compelling for a wrestling viewer. And yes, it was the spot match, but honestly, the biggest holy match, I don't want to add to the tip jar, to the swear jar. The only really mind-blowing spot was the frog splash through the ladder. The rest is all stuff that we've seen that we know Shane can take and does. I don't know, man. It didn't resonate to me. I was like, okay, well, at least Shane is gone. The payoff is there, and I like the stunner at the end. It was good stuff.
Let me tell you about one of my favorite things on this show, and I didn't think it was going to be. Well, Braun Strowman, The Miz, and Heavy Machinery defeated Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. Now, this was a showcase to get all their faces on TV and for Braun Strowman to have one interaction. The heels got their asses kicked. Strowman mowed everybody down, won with a power slam. But while Strowman was running around, he encounters undefeated heavyweight boxing champion and a very controversial guy, Tyson Fury. Now, we're not talking Mike Tyson levels of fame here, but he's very well known. Fightful, we specialize in the crossover. Carlos Toro was all over this. Carlos Toro has covered many Tyson Fury fights. I've covered a few Tyson Fury fights. The image of Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury face to face was awesome because Tyson Fury is a big son of a bitch. And Tyson Fury jumping the guardrail and being held back while Strowman, who goaded him over there, is just like, man, I'm getting in your head. Here's the thing. Tyson Fury is pretty well known for mind games, either affecting him or him affecting other people. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I don't know the extent of your familiarity with Tyson Fury, but man, this was good, fun stuff.
Now this is where it's interesting because my knowledge of boxing is very limited as opposed to you and Carlos, who I know was very excited about this. So this is from my perspective, I've heard of this guy. If only because I do swim around the combat sports area. I know who he is, but I don't know the extent of I know he's undefeated. Yeah, I know the basics. But I've never seen him fight. I don't know how big a guy he is.
6'9".
No, I mean big as in...
Oh, yeah. 29-0-1.
That's impressive.
Yes. Went to a split draw with Deontay Wilder last year. He beat Vladimir Klitschko.
Right.
Easy for me to say. In 2015, he is just huge. And I love this. And I had somebody say, oh, well, he only did 350,000 pay-per-view buys. Oh, that was everywhere else. He did 450,000 in the UK alone against Wilder. It was illegally streamed 10 million times.
Who keeps track of that?
An anti-piracy company. Okay. I would say, now I want to say this, not maybe for the situation, but in totality, Tyson Fury is much more relevant than CAIN VELASQUEZ. CAIN VELASQUEZ got knocked out in 26 seconds a few months ago.
Right.
Before that, he hadn't fought in 3 years. Before that, he hadn't won in two and a half years. CAIN VELASQUEZ isn't Brock Lesnar losing a few months ago and coming back to WWE. CAIN VELASQUEZ has won one fight since 2014 started.
Okay. And
has widely been considered a top heavyweight, but just doesn't fight anymore. I'll get into that later. Tyson Fury is still fighting often. My God, the guy fought 2.5 weeks ago, for the love of God. Won a fight 2.5 weeks ago. He fought in June. This is a very big, cool spot. I really loved it.
Well, okay, so based on what you told me, first and foremost, why couldn't you afford a shirt to begin with? Second of all, as I said, as a wrestling fan, as a guy who knows his wrestling, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this go on and I'm like, oh, okay, oh, all right. this is, this is to be picked up like on ESPN and on mainstream media, so that WWE gets that sweet MSM coverage.
They got to educate their fans. They got to tell their fans who this guy is, though.
Because I had no idea who it was, and I didn't care. And instead, this is my point of view. I'm sitting down. I'm like, who is this guy? Goddamn, AJ Styles is in the ring, and he didn't even get an entrance. He's done nothing. Why isn't AJ Styles using this time to blow our minds? You see where I'm getting at? Heavy Machinery was nothing in this match aside from Otis rubbing his belly.
Because AJ Styles is significantly less famous than Tyson Fury.
I understand. But from my point of view, like I said, as a pure, tunnel vision wrestling fan, and I'm okay with that, by the way.
Joseph Farley says, Tyson Fury lost his damn eyebrow and still won. Yes, he did.
He lost his, I don't know how that works. But anyway, the point of the situation, but I will say this. If they want to do a crossover with Braun and a non-wrestling star, might as well be with a guy who can fight and who is hot, from what I understand at the moment, rather than with Zac Efron, which would have just been a lot of cringe and probably not end up being good and being much more transparent to really wanting to grab headlines than this. You know what I mean? So if they're going to do something with Braun Strowman, I much prefer this than the SNL guys, for instance.
Rob Wilkins says, shout out to Denise. Yeah, Denise, our Monday Night Raw co-host, will be on WWE Watch Along Sunday for Hell in a Cell. Yeah. Very excited about that. Very happy. Congratulations to her. She's great. I straight up told her, I was like, they're going to see you. They're going to hear you talk. You're going to get hired. That's what's going to happen. Rob
I'm not
says,
doing Monday, Sean.
Yeah. Rob says, can you confirm any of the Edge or Scarlett Bordeaux news? I cannot confirm either of those. Edge said no, he's not cleared, and no, he's not coming back. That's what he said on Twitter. So, Lumberjack match. Sure. This was a way to get a bunch of people on the show. Daniel Bryan on commentary. This was a greatest hits performance of Roman Reigns doing moves and Roman Reigns selling. That's what this was until the Harper run-in. Bryan goes after him. Reigns does a jump over the top, and that's a greatest hit too. That was it. Rowan power bombs Ali onto Reigns, and when Harper and Bryan both run in, Reigns hits a spear for the win. This was pretty elementary. This was a spot fest too, of sorts. It was finisher, lumberjacks. It was a lot of cheap heat, I thought, in this, but Roman Reigns won. Okay, so here's the thing. Why do I give a shit about Sunday? Why do I care about Sunday? Why do I want to see him fight Eric Rowan on Sunday? Just watched him beat him. Just watched him pin him. Just watch him take out Harper too. Who gives a shit about Sunday?
Does WWE give a shit about Sunday?
Doesn't seem like it.
There's 3 matches announced. Bailey was on Twitter this week telling Candice LeRae, "Hey, do you want to come fight me for my title on Sunday? I don't have a match."
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like lumberjack matches. I don't. I think they're stupid, and they end up having people look stupid because at some point, okay, toss the babyface out, the heels get their licks in. Same thing with the heel. You toss him out, the babyfaces get their licks in. But then at some point, Eric Rowan gets tossed out, and he beats everyone up, and he just stays on the outside. No one goes to toss him back in. He tosses Roman on the outside, beats him up, and no one tosses anyone back into the match. The Lumberjacks have one job, and it's to keep people inside the ring, and they didn't do it. Because lumberjack matches, they lose their sense as the match progresses. This is consistent. This was fine. It was 2 big dudes. It was Roman on the show, but I don't like lumberjack matches. And I was, again, just like you said, aside from the handshake between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns at the end, I don't know what this served. I don't care about the match on Sunday, which is. I already don't care about 1/3 of the pay-per-view right now.
I agree. Well, here we are 2 days away and 3 matches announced. 3. Well, let's talk about it. What you're all here to hear. Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston. This match started at 10:51. It ended at 10:51. F5 and a pin. Kofi runs, jumps, gets F5'd, and is beaten. He then is no longer seen on this show. Rey Mysterio comes out with who Warren and I thought was Dominic.
Right? And my
like,
tweet
shit,
now
Dominic's back for revenge.
I was like, geez, he bulked up over the past couple of days. Well, I'll have what he's having.
We make all the giant jokes about him, but Jesus Christ. No, it's CAIN VELASQUEZ, who has had 2 matches in AAA. He beat Brock Lesnar years ago. Beat Brock Lesnar 9 years ago. This month, to be exact. Well, they're naturally playing off of that. CAIN VELASQUEZ, Brock Lesnar, it's a natural matchup. So here are my thoughts. 1,
go ahead.
I do not like Kofi Kingston losing in that way. It objectively makes him look stupid. It makes him look weak. I do not like, as things stand, based on Brock Lesnar history, I do not like him winning this championship. If he's on the show weekly, if he's defending the title monthly, I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. But based on history, Brock Lesnar not often defending this championship, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think you need it. If anything, CAIN VELASQUEZ and Rey Mysterio costing him the championship makes Kofi Kingston look better. Brock Lesnar doesn't get hurt a bit. Brock Lesnar sees CAIN VELASQUEZ take everything from him. His WWE championship, his UFC championship, a main event at the Staples Center. I thought they did Kofi dirty here. I thought they did him dirty. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, Sean said Tyson Fury is more relevant to CAIN. He is. Not to Brock. Not to Brock, because Brock has no history with him. CAIN VELASQUEZ, assuming he's going to be in a WWE title program, does not need to be in a WWE title program. I don't know if this means that Rey's going to be in a WWE title program, because remember, he won a title shot. Maybe he'll get it against Lesnar with CAIN in his corner. Sure, that makes sense. I'm okay with that. But I don't think that you needed, if it's going to be CAIN and Brock, you didn't need a title anywhere near this. In fact, when you take the title off your show and it's not there and nobody has a top prize to fight for, it minimizes the show. You go into every show saying, well, this probably isn't going to be an important one, because the guy who's holding the most important thing on that show isn't there, isn't defending the title. And we got people saying, oh, well, it's a historic moment. Yeah, well, you know what? CAIN VELASQUEZ getting knocked out by Junior Dos Santos in like a minute on the UFC Fox debut was a historic moment too. And in pretty short order, those cards got shitty. Ah, man.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
I want to underscore your analysis of having CAIN VELASQUEZ costing Brock the match. If you're going to do it, that was the perfect storyline, especially coming out with Rey, where Rey's like, okay, you suckered me this Monday. Here, look what I have for you. And the story just, it builds itself, it tells itself, and you don't need the title. So it's important to underscore that. Kofi Kingston losing in the way he did this evening, not only is it doing him dirty, making him look stupid, but it is basically taking away all the magic of his reign since WrestleMania. No, sorry. Since he started chasing the title in February this year. You've said it before, and I've said it as well. No one in WWE has been booked better or stronger or smarter than Kofi Kingston in this entire run. Not just his championship run. The entire run that he's had that started at Elimination Chamber. It's been fantastic. And this is how you decide to end it? You don't even give the fans, the people who have supported him, who put him in this position that you, WWE, didn't want, that you didn't envision. You're not even giving us the satisfaction of seeing Kofi claw for his title, sweat, get beaten up. And we know it could have been a good match because Lesnar with smaller guys has the track record of having good to great matches with them. It would have been a good match, and it would have been a proper payoff, even if he did end up losing, even if they did decide to come with Vasquez out at the end and have Kofi eat an F5 for the loss. Just have Kofi fight for it. That was the whole thing of his entire run, how he's been clawing for this position for the past 11 years, and you're going to just snuff it out like that. It's stupid. That is horrible storytelling, because that is not how you keep your champion strong, or at least maintain give this bittersweet moment for the audience where they'll want Kofi to go back with them, because God, he tried so hard to get it to overcome the beast, and he couldn't, but he tried. Now it's stupid, and it did not serve wrestling fans in general. It did not serve WWE fans. This was dumb as hell, and I will even go as far as to say it was dumb as hell that Rey Mysterio was in here. I think it makes Rey look week, because he's
makes him look like a little bitch.
He's bringing other guys to make to fight for him. He's a legend. He's a legend in the business.
World heavyweight champion, WWE champion, had a title match at WrestleMania. Has been everywhere. And
he's going to get CAIN Velasquez. Okay, well, you go after. No, man. I loathed this. I really, really, really hated it.
The thing that bothered me, Kofi was not mentioned, I don't think, one time after he ate that
No, he vanished. We didn't even see him go back. There was nothing. There wasn't even the sight of the champion brokenhearted. There was nothing. It's like, okay, it literally erasing the whiteboard and just starting fresh. We're moving on to something else.
And there's a lot of this shit. I saw somebody, and he didn't send a super chat, so I'm not going to say his name. Kofi isn't a star. Yeah, the fucking crowd dictates who a star is. And the crowd makes noise for Kofi Kingston. Did he need to dominate Brock Lesnar? No, this could have been a 3 or 4 minute sprint. And hey, even if Kofi loses there, okay, we've seen him do that before. But to have Kofi Kingston, after his reign, run and jump into an F5, all right. But is Brock going to be there in a few weeks? Is he going to be there after that? Is he going to defend the title? Is he going to be around for this show that Fox is paying all this money for? I hope so, because that lessens the blow a little bit. Kofi, or somebody sends a super chat and says, does Kofi losing that title that quickly hurt his title run? Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think that a lot of people will think of what happened to start and end it, and that's about it.
Yep, I completely agree. And just to cherry on top, he loses in this fashion to create a feud for Brock with an outside guy.
Yeah.
That's even more insulting.
Super Chat says, I think Kofi gets the belt back very soon. We need Daniel Bryan as a face. Yeah, I don't doubt that maybe Kofi could do this. I'll say this. There's no reason they couldn't have Rey and Kane cost Lesnar the title in 2 days, in 2 weeks, in 2 months. There's no reason that couldn't happen. What do you think?
Sure. I mean, at this point, that's what I'm hoping. But this is the kind of situation, we said it earlier, and this is I think this falls directly into the same category that you were talking about earlier. The draft is going to happen next week, and that's going to dictate a lot of stuff. This is where we're going to see what they're going to do with Kofi moving forward, where he ends up, where Brock ends up. These are all questions. Well, No, because they could. The titles can change brands. Sorry, that's true. The titles can change brand. But depending on where everything falls, this is what's going to dictate what will be happening going forward. Of course, I mean, are they setting up Velasquez and Brock for Hell in a Cell this weekend? I mean, I hope and then we'll never speak of this again kind of situation. Possible. We don't even know what's going on at their pay-per-view this Sunday. So how am I supposed to believe that they even know what they're doing?
And I had somebody in the chat saying, wrestling's supposed to invoke emotions. It's supposed to do this. Sure, if it goes somewhere. Traditionally, WWE doesn't let it go anywhere. Here's the thing. CAIN VELASQUEZ does not invoke emotion from me. Because what it invokes is my dread that the championship, the top prize on the program, the point of the show, the climax of the show will not be on the show as a result because of who has it. And it also invokes dread that CAIN VELASQUEZ, a guy that I have covered for the last 6, 7, 8 years professionally, has a bit of a reputation. I mean, quite frankly, I've mentioned to you guys before, okay, his last fight was in February. He got knocked out. I don't care about that. I don't care that he got knocked out. What I care about is that he hadn't fought for 3 years before that. He pulled out of a fight in 2016, wasn't booked since then. He pulled out of that same fight earlier that year. He pulled out of a fight about a year and a half before that. Oh, by the way, there was another 2-year break in the middle. He's hard to keep in the ring and keep in the cage. When I heard he was training for pro wrestling, I was like, really? Now, granted, I'll say this. Matt Riddle had a lot of those had a lot of those problems as well. He had a lot of injury problems. And he, has done fine. That being said, Matt Riddle's been begging for a Brock Lesnar match for a long-ass time. Brock Lesnar you got on the roster. Now, is Brock Lesnar going to make or is Matt Riddle going to make the kind of impact on news sites that CAIN VELASQUEZ did? No, because he doesn't have the history of beating Brock Lesnar. Oh, man.
And maybe one last thing that I'd like to point out. Ever since Brock Lesnar came back a few months ago, I thought his, winning Money in the Bank, I thought they were using Brock Lesnar as a heel in the most perfect way. Like he comes in, he beats people up, he creates dread and misery, but he has his matches, right? And he fights, he has his matches, and whatever the outcome, it's Brock Lesnar. He's still champion, he's still a menace, he's still a threat. And, I didn't mind his part-timeism in the way that he was being handled. I liked the heel way that they were portraying him. I even liked what he did on Monday. You and I were big fans of what he did on Monday, Sean.
Yeah. Loved it.
Tonight, I think it hurts his heel persona because it's cheap, because it doesn't look like a fight. It doesn't. It looks like booking. If it looks like booking and it smells like booking and it tastes like booking, God, man, it is booking, and that's all that it looks like. It doesn't look like a wrestling contest, a wrestling story, and I think it hurts him as a heel character. I really do.
Super Chat says, all this for MMA crap from a decade ago. I mean, the thing is, if the title's not associated with it, it makes just as much sense to me.
Sure.
As it makes, it would make a lot more sense to me to do like that from a business perspective. And you have Kofi Kingston picking up a win on Fox that man, you want to put that stamp onto him? Damn. Yep. Brock has to have the belt for Kane to be the first person to take his title in both UFC and WWE. Maybe Kofi Kingston can show back up with Alistair Overeem next week or Francis Ngannou or somebody like that. That was SmackDown on Fox. We're here every Friday. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up and subscribe. We're also on podcast platforms everywhere, and I mean everywhere. But hey, if you want the most direct way, FightfulPods.com. It's over there. Warren, let the people know where they can follow you and where they can support you.
Twitter.com/Mr. Warren Hayes is where most of the immediate nonsense occurs. I do also my own live streams on Thursdays at YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. It's called the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, and I also have a Patreon where I toss up extra content at Patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes.
I am here all weekend, and I mean all damn weekend. UFC 243, Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. I'm doing a post show. I'm here Sunday for whatever the hell Hell in a Cell is. I believe Jeff Hawkins is joining me. And then Monday, I am back with Denise for Raw. Next week, Alex has off the Wednesday show. Don't know if we're going to fill in for him or if I'll reign or take over that. But make sure you guys leave a thumbs up and subscribe. We're out.